Okay, y'all, now I am going to talk about another little component of Section 3 of Policies and Procedures, which is the longest part of Policies and Procedures, and that is cross-line recruiting. So this is a pretty big topic because it has happened to a lot of you. People have tried to recruit you away from your team, and it's also happened to you in the opposite, where people have wanted to come to your team. So you need to make sure that you know where Young Living stands on this issue. So cross-line recruiting is not okay. It's not okay for someone to come to you and try to talk you into coming and being a part of their team. They can't entice you in any way. They can't offer you anything. They cannot spell out exactly how to do it. That's not legal. So if someone does that to you, then you have a choice of what to do in that situation. You can talk to your upline leader about it if you want to. You can do nothing about it if you want to, or you can call Young Living and say, this person was trying to recruit me. They're involved in unethical practices. That's up to you how you want to deal with that situation. But if someone comes to you and says, hey, I want to be a part of your team. I've seen that you educate your people. I've seen that you have a team of supportive people. I think we could work well together. You're my friend, you're my family member, whatever it is. If they come to you and they want to do that, the appropriate response is not to tell them the exact method to do that. So it's not to say, all you have to do is go inactive for this amount of time or get 3 upline approval. The appropriate thing to do in that situation is to tell them, hey, I know Young Living takes a pretty firm stand on this. They don't always approve people who want to move, so you'll need to contact Young Living and find out what the process is and see if it's something that you really want to do. But I would encourage you to go to your upline and seek help, and if you can't get help from your direct upline, keep going up until you can find someone who will help you, because there are lots of people in Young Living who want to help you. And I'll just tell you, in my personal experience, I had to go up 6 levels to find someone who was willing to mentor me. And for a couple of years, I didn't have a mentor at all. And so that's kind of why we started this team, and we are so passionate about making sure that we are being mentors and that we are creating other mentors, because we don't want people to have to figure everything out all on their own. I'm thankful that I figured it out all on my own, because I had to really, really learn the business, but I also wish that I would have had a mentor. And now my mentor is so many levels above me that I only call her when I absolutely have to. So yes, it is a stinky situation to be in if you're not in close contact with your direct upline. But that doesn't mean that you can't do the business. So when someone comes to you and says, I want to be on your team, I want to move, your job is to tell them, contact Young Living and find out what the process is for that and see if you really want to do it. But it's my job to encourage you to stay where you are and build your business where you are. If they continue to be persistent and say, I just really want to be on your team, I just want to be on your team, that's okay. We're all independent distributors. We all get to decide how we build our business. If someone really feels like they can work better with you and it's their idea, not yours, then they're adults. They get to make those decisions. So they can call Young Living. They can find out the procedure for that. They can find out that they can go inactive for 6 months and then move themselves, or they can get the approval of 3 uplines and pay $35 and move. But you can't enter into that conversation with them. And here's the reason why. If they ask you and then you tell them what the process is, and then they go back to their upline and they say, hey, I just wanted you to know I want to move, and I talked to my friend and I'm going to move to her team, and she said I have to get 3 upline approvals or I have to go inactive for 6 months. Would you approve my move? Whether it was her idea to move or not, that upline who hears that conversation is going to hear this person is being recruited to another team. So even if you didn't recruit your friend, the perception is you did, and you want to be above reproach. You do not want to have anyone perceive that you have recruited someone. So that's why it's so important that you have these people find out the information on their own and go through the process on their own if that's something that they really want to do, if they're really willing to do that. Because if you're involved any way in that process, it can be perceived that you recruited someone. And if your business is important to you, you don't want to do anything that's going to put that in jeopardy. So, all that to say, cross-line recruiting is it's taken very seriously. It's not allowed. So I want you to be sure that you stay above reproach in this area. If you ever have someone approach you and say, I really want to be a part of your team, and then you like forget what you're supposed to say, just say, you know, I know that's not allowed, but let me get back to you and I'll talk to you about that later. And then contact your upline leader, contact one of us, look at policies and procedures, figure out what it is exactly that you need to do. Don't get yourself in a situation where you are recommending that someone move to your team, because that could be devastating for your business overall and for your reputation. So there are teams out there that have the reputation for recruiting people away from other teams. We had some of our members go to an event recently and they were actively recruiting people from other teams. I don't want that reputation. And in fact, I refuse to have that reputation. So if it is found out that someone in our team is doing that, then we'll talk to you about it. But if it doesn't stop, then you won't be able to be associated with Essential Families. And in fact, we will have to report you to Young Living, because it is such a big deal when you're messing with other people's businesses. And the reason it's a big deal is because we don't want people doing it to you. So to protect your business, you need to be willing to protect other people's businesses as well. So I hope that this makes sense to you about cross-line recruiting. Please ask any questions that you have if it doesn't.